So really, just to build very slightly on what Nick was saying earlier, mostly we didn't achieve what we wanted to achieve, but we generated a bunch of basically known unknowns and some lists of data sets, and also some things where we want to be able to continue to ask for data to be released, really. So again, this is all captured in the hackpad. I've linked to a separate hackpad with this particular set of data sets on it, basically going through some of the data sets that Nick was referring to earlier about current flood risk data, Environment Agency and DEFRA climate change allowances for planners, and how we can't get them to speak to each other as yet. But we did also have some interesting conversations with people who are here from the Environment Agency, and they were sort of talking about how the NAFRA model is produced and so on, so that was useful to kind of get a better understanding of how that works. And then potentially how, if one were able to get full access to the models that underpin the NAFRA flood risk data set, know how to then apply things like climate change allowances to give an uplift to take into account climate change. Another thing that we did, start doing anyway, was also doing stuff on land use and kind of bringing together land use data sets. And again, unfortunately, a lot of these are proprietary data sets still, or they have licensing issues around them and aren't open. So, for example, there's some very interesting mapping that's been done by the by the Forestry Commission. That's slightly bigger, so you can see, which shows. Well, you can basically see all the areas in blue, in various shades of blue, aren't actually just flooding. They're about where forests could be planted to help alleviate flood risk. Sadly, that is not open data yet. That's not available as GIS data to download anyway. So that's something which we're going to continue pushing for to get released. There's some sympathetic people within the Forestry Commission who are keen for that to happen anyway. But lots of information which we could be using and inputting and trying to kind of compile. So like information on where the grouse moors are. There's maps, but again they're not released. There's information on land ownership, but again it's not open. There's obviously land registry stuff which is behind the paywall. The last thing just to show is just a very simple map, and a thank you to everyone who has been helping me with getting to grips with QGIS here. It's basically to show you a map we were building of going from political constituencies to catchments. So the areas in dark blue here are Conservative MPs' constituencies. The ones in red are obviously Labour. So just to interrogate these, you can see that this is a very large constituency in the uplands and Dales here, which is Julian Smith MP's constituency. And what you can see that looks like a river is the NAFRA flood risk data, showing you that the Aire River arises in Julian Smith's constituency, right at the top there. You can see where the whole of the catchment for the Aire is there, and the colder rivers, in fact. And you can see obviously how they're flowing through each of these constituencies. You've got about 11 different constituencies covering the Aire River. So it's a question of how can we bring the political boundaries and the political actors there in line with natural boundaries, natural constituencies. So one of the things that I'm going to be doing as part of my work at Friends of the Earth is to try and bring together these 11 MPs to form a river parliament to actually talk about how there can be better management of flood risk and land under in their constituency and across their catchment that they represent. So yeah, obviously what we'd love to be able to do is add in loads more data there on land use and land use change and how we can better manage land, but as I was saying, a lot of that data is still, sadly, proprietary. So hopefully we can push together for it to be made open.
Fantastic. Thanks, guys.
Thank you to everyone who's been inputting to this. Sorry, I'm not an expert.